Okay, so in part 2 of the Akai S950 sampler, we heard the drums. All of those sounds. Now, what are we going to do? It's 1988, 87, 88. What are we going to do? How are we going to record something that can be then played back through the sampler? The answer is you use the Atari ST. And interestingly enough, on eBay, you can still pay up to £300 for an S950. That's how useful they are and how in demand they are for this sound. An Atari will still set you back £100, maybe £150 with the attached monochrome monitor. A look at the monitor here reveals a very similar layout to familiar programs like Logic or Pro Tools or GarageBand. This is Cubase version 2 from 1989 and it works perfectly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set it recording and it'll give me a metronome output. It actually comes out of the telly, but you can assign the metronome to any other MIDI note just like you would on a standard workstation. So I'm going to press go and you'll hear the charming little chime of the metronome. Okay, so I thought there was 1 bar counting, it's actually 2 bars. Now I've got that little file recorded, I'm just going to go back and play it. There was a hi-hat missing there. Now, when I double click on this or I go to the edit window, I can see all my drum sounds recorded here. So we are using the computer here that has no audio recording capability to control something that does have audio recording capability. This is 1 megahertz processor and it has 1 meg of RAM. So 1 meg is roughly 15 seconds of audio recording, so it's not possible with this. Now, I'm not that old, I think, but I remember doing 16-bit audio editing with these at university with 200 megabyte hard drives attached, big baskets that just whirred all the time. And if you wanted to change the bass frequency of a particular file, you press go and then you go down the Union for a couple of pints, come back and it would just be finishing. So audio wise, you're better off using a sampler because it has tiny little snippets of audio that are far easier to control. So what you just heard there was me playing the keyboard. The Atari also had MIDI in and out as standard, which made it instantly accessible to recording studios around the world, and indeed every studio had one. Go and get yourself a sampler and an Atari and just go back 30 years to really a very golden age in electronic music composition. And there we go. There it is. Now the keyboard, the sampler and the computer are talking to each other via something called MIDI, Musical Instrument Digital Interface. It's a 34-year-old protocol and it's still very much in active service. So whoever designed it knew what they were doing. So what I've done is I've connected the computer up so that the keyboard feeds the computer and then the computer feeds the sampler. So, and the computer will pass those MIDI signals as well. So I can play the keyboard and it still comes out of the sampler. What the computer is therefore doing is recording tiny little bits of data which are the MIDI information, and it's much less memory intensive than the audio, which is why a computer of this capability is able to record all of this information because it's not dealing with audio, it's telling something else, the 950, to play back various sounds. So that's the reason that it works so well.